All right, guys, good morning. Welcome to the Pre-Market Live. I know we have a ton of new people in here this morning. So first off, I wanted to just say welcome. Maybe this is your first day watching the Pre-Market Live. Welcome. This is kind of a good day to do it. It's a slower morning, guys. It is FOMC day. If you are not aware, we do have our Fed rate decision today, and we're going to have Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking at 2:30. Thus, it is going to be a much slower day for me personally. I always take it slower on these types of days, guys. My focus is going to be much more narrow this morning. We have a binary event coming up this afternoon at 2 p.m., and we have basically three real possibilities, guys, in my mind. One is that we have a 75 basis point hike with a more hawkish Fed. I think that would probably yield to seeing the S&P come down a little bit post rate hike decision. The telegraphed message was a 75 basis point hike and then talk of stepping down. A lot of analyst firms have agreed that would likely see a upside reaction. We will see. And so we definitely have a few different possibilities. The outside possibilities, maybe we see a step down to a 50 basis point hike today. Is that possible? Sure. Do I think it's likely? No. But obviously we have three pretty distinct possibilities today, guys. We will see how things turn out. Really, anything kind of can happen. But like I said, it's a binary event, and therefore trading beforehand is going to be more choppy, more mixed, and not an A-plus environment usually, right? Now, there can always be an A-plus setup that presents itself, but like I said, my focus is always a little bit different on days like today, and that is going to be reflected in my pre-market live. Just to give you a little bit of an update on the schedule, so this morning we're going to go over the Airbnb setup. We're going to talk about SPY a little bit here, but then after that, I'm going to hop on the Discord live trading. I have one setup that I'm looking at this morning, and that is going to be Airbnb. Keeping an eye on Caterpillar. I know Book's looking at that one as well. And then after that, I'm probably going to be done for the morning. I will be back on live at 1:40. I'm going to be back on the stream just like this. That's where I'm going to do a little bit more of an in-depth, 20-minute overview of the charts that I'm going to be looking at for the FOMC rate hike decision. And then I'll be on Discord live with the guys for the FOMC decision at 2 p.m. So just a little bit of a different schedule today because of FOMC day. I always do that FOMC live stream 20 minutes before. But like I said, guys, it's just a little bit of a different schedule today because of FOMC. I'm not going to overtrade, the FOMC chop. We had a lot of chop yesterday. So this morning, like I said, we're going to cover Airbnb, Caterpillar, Meta, and then I'll talk about the S&P 500 a little bit, right? Those are the three things I'm watching for the most part. My focus, really the only trade I'm going to look to, actually, something I'm considering taking is going to be Airbnb. The earnings flush, it's going to be smaller size if I do take it. I will say that again. Maybe I need to have bold text running right here, but smaller size. If I take anything before FOMC, it is always half or 30% of my normal size. So if I normally put $1,000 into a trade, which is, obviously I'm just using that as an example, it would be like a $400 or $500 position, right? Or, maybe even less. So it's always better to be safe than sorry on these types of days. Again, I wanted to I wanted to welcome everybody that's new. I know it's the second of the month. There's probably a ton of new people that are in here today. Remember, guys, this is an awesome community. I couldn't be more stoked that you're in the room for November. You have access to a lot of great traders, Willie Mitsas, Shoei, D-Book, myself, and then there's tons of really skilled traders in the room itself. So don't be afraid to get antiquated inside the Discord community. It's a great spot to be. Everybody in there is going to be super nice, friendly. Bill Burr might give you some trouble, your first day, but at the end of the day, he's a really awesome trader too and a great guy. So there's a lot of really good people in there, guys, and we couldn't be more stoked to have you in the room. So like I said, welcome to the Pre-Market Live. We're going to do these every single morning, guys, 9:10 to 9:15. I'll get on in between that 5-minute interval every single morning. We'll go over charts and setups for about 15-20 minutes. And then we'll hop right into the live trading. And that live trading is going to be on the Discord live stream. And that's going to be where you can listen to me live on voice for the first hour and a half of the day. Today will probably be a little bit shorter because of the fact that, like I said, it is FOMC day. But you have to excuse me. I have a little bit of some allergies going this morning, so a little bit sniffly. But like I said, guys, a little bit of a different vibe today, but we'll really be kind of, full swing into tomorrow. And like I said, I've said this a million times, but my PSA to everybody, including everyone that's new, maybe you saw my tweet on my main account last night, just because every other person makes this out to be the trading Super Bowl doesn't mean that it needs to be to you, right? I have found my most successful and profitable trades that I have reviewed have been in the day or two after FOMC, right? Because that's when we truly get that action settles out. We get that true reaction, right? I've had great trades on FOMC days before, but especially the last 3 meetings, guys, it's been in the days following, not the day of, right? So don't put a ton of pressure on yourself. That's unhealthy in my mind, and it's never been, the best thing that's worked for me is to have unhealthy pressure on myself headed into FOMC. So like I said, let's go ahead and dig into the charts a little bit here, guys. I have one main focus set up this morning. That's going to be Airbnb. We will cover that in 1 second. Let's cover the S&P 500 quickly. We have a pretty tight range that we are trading in because why would we have anything else prior to Powell, right? So we have a pretty tight and hard resistance here at this 390 to 391 level, guys. And we have a pretty strong support on the hourly here at this 380, 338 level, right? So that's going to be kind of that primary downside trigger for me. I don't think we'll see a break below 383 prior to Powell. Maybe we flush down into this 381 level, but stronger support on the hourly at 381. Very strong support from yesterday at that 383 level, and then we have that stronger resistance, right, or supply zone, definitely inside this kind of 385 area. So that's going to be an area that I'm going to be looking at, guys, that stronger resistance into 385. If we see a pop above that, I don't think we're going to see a pop above that either. I think we're going to trade between that $2 range of 383 to 385.61 pretty much all day, right? So low of the day from yesterday, guys, was that 383.29 area. And then obviously we have really just a brick wall of resistance at this 386 level on the S&P right now. So like I said, guys, that's going to be the range that I am paying attention to on the S&P today. If we crack below beforehand, which I think is possible just because we tend to flush, at 10, 11 o'clock on FOMC days, that 381.64 level, not a bad spot to look for as a prior support below. If we see, that 383 level hold, I think we'll just kind of ping pong like we did yesterday, right? After the open, we gapped down and then just kind of chopped, right? So with that being said, we are at the bottom of this range headed into the open. We are just touched that 380, 357. That is our pre-market low. We know that's always important. Map out our pre-market low, right? So that 380, 357 area is our pre-market low. Use that as kind of an extra confluence point at that 383 support. But what I'm going to be paying attention to, since we are, somewhat at the bottom of this range, I am going to be looking at Airbnb for a post-earnings flush. They did have a, pretty good ER in my mind. I guess it is technically subjective, but in this economy, I thought Airbnb kind of blew out, their expectations, right? Beat on EPS, beat on rev, top and bottom beat, $1 billion plus in free cash flow. For a name like Airbnb, that felt like a pretty good number to me. This one tends to react well off of earnings. So I may take a speculative size position here on Airbnb off the open. Again, we have a pretty clear range that we've kind of established, right? In between this 100 to 102 level is our demand area, 100, that 170 level, right? So that $100.70 level up to 101.65. That was a pretty big area that we saw a lot of buyers step in. So if we hold that 101.65 area, guys, I am going to be looking at the 110 calls. Where I see opportunity here on Airbnb is a farther out of the money position. Why is that? Well, let's look. On the 30-minute, which is the chart I posted last night on the private Twitter as my focus setup, we talked about this, right? Very strong resistance at this 105 level, and then again, kind of up into this 106.22 area. But the bigger resistance in the area that I think we could target would be a move into this 108 area. That was kind of our intraday support from yesterday prior to the earnings gap down. I would not be surprised to see a retest of yesterday's close, which would be that 109 level. If we saw that, I think the 110 calls off open, as long as we're in that 102 area, offer some really nice risk to reward. This is going to be a trade that is off of the open for me, right? So in the first minute or two, right, buying that kind of earnings IV crush that we see, And then those premiums should be relatively beaten down, right? And so, like I said, I'm looking at like the 109, 110 calls. If you'd like to be closer in the money, maybe the 105s look good. I think the 110s are interesting. We have a lot of week left, and again, we're $8 out of the money. Like I said, about 8% out of the money. I think that this could be a really fantastic setup from a risk to reward perspective. This is, again, something I would risk around half size, if not even less, right? Probably about 30 to 40% of what I normally risk on a position. These earnings flushes are already usually lighter size. So in this case, I'm probably going to go really small in size and just kind of let it play out a little bit. My hard stop would be under that 100 psych level. A dip to that 100 psych level would be ideal off open, in my opinion, or that 101.65 area. So going to be watching that very closely, guys. If we get, a dip down to that area, even more advantageous, in my opinion. But that's kind of a good starter for this morning, right? So that's definitely where I'm going to be looking. I know D-Book is looking at Caterpillar, and I definitely was looking at that chart too. We were talking about it last night. The daily chart is absolutely set up. I know he was looking at some like 11.18s here. Printed an inside day and then barely broke out of it. Almost had that double inside bar set up. This looks good if it decides to break out over 219.50. I like that. 11.18 contracts, not a bad idea in this market on FOMC day. But so keep an eye out. I know he's going to be looking at that. I may or may not tail his entry. But like I said, my plan is to really look at Airbnb and then probably be done for the morning. I never have ever traded prior to FOMC well. It's never been a plus profitable time for me. For whatever reason, it's not for whatever reason. The market is just not usually conducive, right, to those A plus, kind of easy trades that we talk about, right? And you want to trade when it's easy, not when it's hard. It's always picking your spots is so important, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and hop on the Discord live trading. It is 9:28. We have 2 minutes until the open. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in the Discord, go onto the live trading channel. It's on the left-hand side. You'll see the live trading button. You can hit that. It has a little speaking emoji next to it. And I will hop on the Discord live trading to go over everything. Again, welcome to the room, guys. Very excited to have you. And I will see you on the Discord live and then back on here for the pre-FOMC stream. See you then, guys. Peace.